Most people don't realize how much of their life is controlled by others, not through force, but through attention. Think about it. How many times has your mood changed because of one comment, one look, one opinion that shouldn't have mattered in the first place? Someone says you're not good enough, and suddenly you start questioning everything. Someone ignores you, and now you're overthinking your worth. Someone criticizes your work, and instead of improving, you feel stuck. The real problem isn't those people. It's the fact that we give them access to our mind without any filter. We treat every opinion like it deserves a response, every insult like it deserves emotion, and every distraction like it deserves our time. And slowly, without noticing, we lose control over our own focus. Your confidence starts depending on others, and your direction in life becomes unclear. The truth is, attention is like currency, and most people are spending it on things that give them absolutely no return. You wake up, check your phone, see something negative, and your energy drops before your day even begins. That's not an accident. That's a habit. And habits, repeated daily, quietly shape your entire future. Now here's the truth most people won't tell you. Not everything deserves your reaction. In fact, most things don't. The strongest people you admire aren't strong because they fight everything. They're strong because they ignore almost everything that doesn't align with their purpose. Imagine two people walking down the same path. One stops every time a dog barks, every time someone laughs, every time someone throws a comment their way. The other keeps walking, focused, calm, unaffected. After an hour, one is barely moved, exhausted from reacting to everything, while the other has reached their destination. That's the difference ignoring creates. It's not about being careless or cold. It's about being selective with your energy. It's about understanding that reacting is easy, but controlling your reaction is rare, and rare is exactly what creates results. Let's break this down with real-life examples. Think about school or work. There's always someone who doubts you, someone who makes sarcastic remarks, someone who tries to pull you down, sometimes subtly, sometimes openly. If you respond to every one of them, you lose time, energy, and clarity. You get dragged into unnecessary battles that don't improve your life. But when you ignore them, not out of weakness, but out of control, you take your power back. You're saying, without words, you don't get to decide how I feel or what I do, and that's powerful. Over time, people even start respecting that silence because it shows you're not easy to shake. Another example. Social media. People spend hours scrolling, comparing, reacting, arguing with strangers they'll never meet. One negative comment can ruin their whole day. But what if you simply ignored it? What if you trained your mind to recognize that not every voice deserves space in your head? Suddenly, you're free. Free from comparison, free from unnecessary stress, free to focus on what actually matters. You stop living for reactions and start living with intention. And then there are relationships. This is where ignoring becomes even more important and more difficult. Sometimes people provoke you, test you, or behave in ways that are clearly meant to get a reaction. Maybe it's a friend who constantly criticizes you, or someone who tries to make you feel small. Reacting emotionally often makes things worse. It feeds the behavior. But ignoring it, staying calm, not giving them the reaction they expect, that changes the dynamic completely. It shows strength, self-respect, and emotional control. It sets a boundary without even saying a word. And boundaries are what protect your peace. Now, let's be clear. Ignoring doesn't mean avoiding responsibility or pretending problems don't exist. There's a difference between ignoring what's harmful and ignoring what's important. You shouldn't ignore your goals, your responsibilities, or genuine feedback that helps you grow. But you should absolutely ignore noise, unnecessary opinions, distractions, negativity that doesn't help you move forward. The challenge is learning the difference. Another powerful example is competition. Many people spend so much time watching what others are doing that they forget to improve themselves. They compare progress, results, and even failures. But the truth is, comparison is a distraction. When you ignore what others are doing and focus on your own path, you grow faster. You stop feeling behind and you start building your own pace. One of the biggest shifts you can make in your life is realizing that your attention is limited and valuable. Where you place place it determines your results. If you place it on negativity, you'll feel negative. If you place it on distractions, you'll stay distracted. But if you protect it, if you choose carefully what deserves your focus, you'll start seeing real progress. Ignoring becomes a filter. It protects your peace, your time, and your direction. And yes, it's not easy. At first, your mind will want to react. It's used to it. It craves validation, defense, explanation. You'll feel the urge to reply, to prove a point, to correct someone, to win an argument that doesn't even matter. But with practice, you can train yourself to pause, to step back, and to choose silence instead of reaction. And that silence, it's not weakness, it's control, it's discipline, it's maturity. It's a quiet kind of confidence that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. Think about the most confident person you know. Do they argue with everyone? Do they respond to every criticism? Or do they move with quiet focus, unaffected by things that don't align with their goals? That's the power of ignoring. So here's the takeaway. Your life improves the moment you stop reacting to everything. Not everything deserves your energy, your attention, or your emotions. Learn to ignore strategically. Ignore the noise, ignore the negativity, ignore the distractions, but stay focused on what truly matters. Because at the end of the day, success isn't just about what you do, it's also about what you choose not to engage with. And when you master that, you don't just move forward, you move forward faster, calmer, and with a level of control most people never reach. And maybe the most powerful part of all of this is simple. When you stop giving attention to things that don't deserve it, you finally have enough attention left to build a life that does. Once you experience that kind of peace and clarity, you won't want to go back. You realize that ignoring wasn't loss, it was protection. It wasn't weakness, it was strength. And it wasn't avoidance, it was focus on what truly matters. The art of ignoring does not suggest turning a blind eye to the world or neglecting responsibilities. Instead, it emphasizes the intentional choice to focus our attention on the essential while purposefully disregarding irrelevant or negative stimuli. It requires developing a keen sense of discernment to differentiate between what deserves our attention and what does not. In today's hyper-connected society, I'm bombarded with constant notifications, advertisements, and opinions that demand our attention. The art of ignoring empowers me to reclaim control over our mental space and cultivate a sense of calm amidst the chaos. By consciously filtering out distractions, I create room for introspection, creativity, and deep focus. In many cases, ignoring is not just a complete cessation of communication, but also a gradual process that starts with guilt tripping or vague statements. The manipulator often lays the groundwork by withdrawing emotionally and then leaving the victim with unanswered questions. They may say things like, "I don't want to talk about this right now," or "I need space," which causes the victim to feel that there might still be a chance to fix things. This ambiguity increases the victim's emotional dependence and creates a sense of urgency to repair the relationship. When communication is cut off completely, the victim might attempt to ping the person, sending multiple messages or trying to get a response in any way possible. These efforts to break the silence can become obsessive as the victim becomes fixated on regaining the emotional connection they feel they've lost. Sometimes this even leads to actions like posting happy photos or showcasing an idealized version of their life on social media to attract attention or make the person regret their decision to ignore them.